Hello everyone, welcome to Foreign Farming in the Philippines. The shrimp have been ordered, so I just wanted to come out here and check on things. It's been several days since we were out here. Just wanted to make sure everything was still a go while there's still time to cancel that order. The pond still looks reasonably full. It's not topped off near as high as it was, but it's been 4 days, I think, since we had a high tide, a tide high enough for water to come over the gate. The Lamont seems to be flourishing. The Lomot, I think I say it Lamont. Marcel says it Lomot. Right, Marcel?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it looks like there might be a few little fish in there.
There's fish there.
Well, we've done what we can to keep them out, and that's all we can do. As you can see, almost zero leak. There does seem to be a little bit of dripping going on right there, but that's more like a kitchen sink drip than anything else. So, the water loss is just from the leaks in the pond itself, in the banks, and it looks like it's down about 8 inches from its maximum. You can see the Lamont was actually up and over the top of that at one point. I'm going to come out here one of these days and just do a little bit of general cleanup around here. Do something with these bags. Need to clear the palm fronds out of the pond itself. Those don't need to be in there. It's good enough for now. This is about all we can expect to have water depth wise, because we're in another cycle of neither high nor low tides. I think this gate setup they have here is complete. And they're doing it the old school way, with the mud and plastic, and you can see from the water flowing out there that it leaks. That's why we endeavored to get away from the mud and plastic. And so, you know, not only does that leak, there's a chance it could fail altogether. If that mud begins to wash out, it'll just completely wash out, and your little dam there will totally fail. Now, they can do that any way that they want to. It's just that we did not want to spend hours and hours fetching mud and trying to get it to seal, whereas these boards with rubber gasket on them, they work perfectly. And one guy can do it rather than a couple guys for hours and hours. One guy can knock that little lock out right there and lift out one board. we do need to get one more board in there installed so that we could capture even more water. Because there's, you know, the walls of this leak, the walls of every pond I've heard now leak to some extent, and there's just no way to totally eliminate it. Critters burrow into it, tree roots, you know, there's reasons why they leak. And there's, over time, you're always going to be fighting the leaks. And I don't think a lot of maintenance was done on this particular pond to fight the leaks. So it's always going to be a bit of water loss. And in the 4 days since a really high tide, this pond has gone down about 8 inches. So a couple inches a day in leakage. Now, of course, there will be a high tide, not enough to come over the top of those boards, but it'll be, well, it's going to be a week before the river's higher than the pond, so it'll continue to fall a little each day. But for little tiny shrimp, that's plenty of habitat. They've got plenty to eat. We're going to do a little bit of work on this caretaker's house. Mosquito net, a little bit of floor fixing. Like I've got something on my screen there, but it's just the light. So we're going to make a few improvements to this. I still know I ordered a simple aeration unit for this, and haven't heard anything on it. So as soon as we look, we're gonna post the guards ourselves much sooner than before. I had not thought that those little tiny shrimp would be worth stealing because they were smaller than my little finger, but they obviously were. So we're going to put ourselves out here 24/7 just a couple weeks after we put the shrimp in. And at that point, we're going to bring the solar from the house and add it to this, and that's what we'll get some aeration with in the wee hours of the morning when it's most needed. So, and I'm not going to bring the aeration out, and I'm not going to bring the solar setup out now and set it all up, not our big unit, because I'm afraid it would walk away as well. That small panel and that small battery, not that worried about, but the big batteries, the large panels, the controller, the inverter, and all that, that's a whole different story. I am a little bit concerned about those fish right there, but it is what it is. We've done what we can to keep fish out of this. We've got this screen here doubled, and they've still managed to get through it. Looks like there's a couple little schools. They're probably tilapia fry, and I don't think they pose that big of a danger to the shrimp larvae. Now they will eat them if they're hungry, but there's so much natural feed in this pond that I don't think there will be much predation going on. Now I was going to bump up the amount of shrimp put in this to 80,000 this time, but I've talked to many people, and look, we're gonna, with the overage that they give you, I think we're gonna end up with 60,000, and 10 or 15% loss still would be over 50,000. And I've talked to many people, especially those that we met at the Bohol Fish Pond Association, meeting, and they, none of them aerate other than with paddle wheels. But even with paddle wheels, they don't run that high of a stocking density. So I've decided to pull it down to 50,000, which will probably be 60,000. And even at that, it's still a pretty dense stocking. Now, if we had really serious aeration, like 4 more solar panels, 4 more good batteries, 6 more good batteries, so that I could run an aeration unit all night, overnight, that would be a different story, and we might push it to 80,000. But we just don't have the setup. Those 2 good gel batteries I have will run that 1 horsepower aeration unit for just a couple hours. And I was thinking of running it from like 4 to 6 a.m. That's when the oxygen content of the water falls really low. So just enough to get us through that nighttime, the critical period of the nighttime. And if it's a bright sunny day and the batteries are charged, maybe run it for an hour during the day as well. What we're focusing on doing rather than aeration is water exchange, because even the 50,000 is a pretty dense stocking for this pond. It's only a ½ hectare. You got to remember, it's only a ½ hectare, and only about 50% of that, even when the pond is deeper than it is now, is what I would call really good habitat for shrimp. So, what is he doing? Is he trying to beat you with that palm frond? Charlie. So I'm putting as many shrimp in here as I think we can safely get away with. Especially since this time I want to make sure that we can get them to a marketable weight to where we actually get some peso per kilo out of them. And I just want to make sure, it's all natural feed. We're not going to be feeding them. The last time was supposed to be an experiment, and we never really got any data from that experiment because so many of them were stolen. So the data we get this time off of this next run will let us know whether or not we can put a little bit higher density, whether we need more oxygenation for the density that we're going to put in it, and whether or not we're going to have to feed them, if it's enough feed to run them all the way to the 50 to 60 size per kilo, which would be in the neighborhood of 25 per pound, which is a decent size, because we still don't know if this is going to be ample feed for them. So we're hoping, and we've ordered the shrimp. Who knows when they'll get here? I'm hoping sometime this week, and when they do come, we will run right out here and put them in the water. Thank you, everyone. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe.